Good morning, guys. Dave1on1. Herbalife breakfast consumed. Energy levels miles better. Feels good. Last time you're going to see me in Umbro, as I'll be picking up my True Sock stuff and representing that brand. Just freshens it all up. Smart for the trips abroad. Looks great for videos. Can tag certain players, certain people. Should just boost the social media incredibly. Okay. Today's topic. I get as much praise for my daily VTs as I do my coaching sessions, so thank you guys, I appreciate it. I like to do them in the morning when I'm most creative. Okay, someone told me the first 45 minutes you wake up are the most creative for the day. We're in that zone now. Okay, so let's see what I've got. What is it like to be a Premier League academy coach? Okay, I can only talk about my journey. My journey was in 2010. I worked at Stoke City for about 18 months. I was initially recruited to coach the under-13s elite in the academy, but I ended up working 7 days a week on a part-time contract, but still 7 days a week within the academy, working with most age groups from 9s to 16s that came in as trialists. Okay, I worked with all the babies. They used to employ me to do the little kids because they like my personality with the kids, the way I was, how upbeat I was. I'm going to talk you through the journey, the highs, the lows, what people's expectations are for academy coaching, and what the reality is once you get there. Okay, so I was out working in Norway. I came across a lad called Ash Hill, young lad, player for Port Vale. He already had a job at the academy, so we worked together on this skills camp at a team called Stabæk in Norway in the summer. We got on great. And then he recommended me to the club. So when I went to the club, I was waiting for the phone call off the guy for ages, man. Do you know what I mean? It was like waiting for a trial at Christmas. He promised to ring the day after, and I thought, right, he's gonna ring, and it must have took 2 or 3 weeks for the phone call. Anyway, I'd given up. I thought I didn't get the job, okay, or I thought I hadn't got an interview for the job. So I went to Benidorm with my mate for 3 weeks. When I'm in Benidorm, the phone rings. It's the academy manager, Dave. We want to interview you next week at the Britannia Stadium. Okay, so still fairly like, it was a big chance for me at that time. So I didn't know what the money was. I didn't know what the hours were. I didn't know what the level of expectation were. But the simple facts were logistics. I lived in Stockport, and Stoke City is obviously in Stoke. Okay, so it's about an hour in a car. But I'll tell you about my travelling as well. Anyway. I went to the interview at the Britannia Stadium. I'd never really seen Premier League football stadiums close up, do you know what I mean? So I sat in the interview room with the academy manager, who I thought was like James Bond at the time. Black slicked hair, classy man, big, powerful, imposing man. And anyway, I remember sitting there a bit daunting, selling myself, boom, boom, boom. Anyway, I've never not got a job on an interview, because obviously I can talk a little bit. So if I go for an interview, I tend to get them. They gave me the position of the 13s. They told me my hours, okay? So my hours were Monday, 6 till 8, Wednesday, 6 till 8, Friday, 6 till 8, and then a Sunday game, which would often take up half a day, because obviously every other week it was away. So the home games were played at Clayton Wood, which is Stoke's training ground, and then the away games, we played teams like West Brom, Man United, Aston Villa, Coventry. We played the odd Cat 3. I remember playing Cheltenham, Man City we played. Man United, the Man United team that we played had Rashford in, and Rashford was the only player I saw at academy football who stood out head and shoulders, and I mean head and shoulders, because academy football is so equal, it's hard for players to really stand out. But I remember Rashford playing on one of the wings, and me and the other guy going, what? Okay, so when I got to Stoke City, I had to get the training, because I had no car at the time. So this is what I'm saying about, you have to go out your way to achieve success in the end. That period of my life looked great on my CV, Premier League, Category 1 football coach, but the actual mechanics of it weren't, do you know what I mean? I was part-time, but because I lived in Stockport, worked in Stoke, couldn't do much else around it, guys. So I had to get the train in, which took an hour, okay? I had to get off the train with my boots in my hand, and I had to walk from Stoke Station to Clayton Wood training ground, which took an hour and 10 minutes. 40% of it was uphill as well, okay? So I was doing that four times a week, okay? The wage when I was at Stoke City was £40 a session or £20 an hour, so 2-hour sessions. When I first started, I had my set hours, which was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Okay. Then when I came in and I impressed in my initial trial period. Well, not the trial period. When I was settling in, do you know what I mean? They gave me all the development work as well, which was Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday morning, which meant I had 7 days full at the club. Okay. I'd never worked at that level, and I'd never been around players of that level before that. So I remember when I first walked in, quite daunted. Obviously, I knew one person who'd linked me with the job, but when I walked into it was porter cabins, because the big Clayton Wood training ground was being built. And I remember being a bit like thinking in my head on the walk down, am I good enough for this level? Okay, can I do it? You know, I wonder what it's like. I wonder what the players are like. I wonder what the coaches are like. I walked in, you've got Craig Ramage sat there, you've got Earl Barrett sat there. I remember thinking, bloody hell, man, like this is a bit intimidating, do you know what I mean? But I have to say, Craig Ramage especially, what a legend, like loved a laugh, loved a joke. And I remember him just because all the coaches were getting changed, and obviously I was new, so I just remember him especially making me feel dead welcome. And on the journey, I'll talk about the difference between ex-pros and pros, okay? Anyway, so the most I ever earned as a Category 1 football coach, working basically, I had the most hours in the academy, do you know what I mean? There was no one, because everyone was on part-time contracts, and apart from the full-time staff, which there was 3, academy manager, head of recruitment, and the technical skills coach, and everyone was part-time. So I think I had the most hours was 16, but the most money I ever earned in a week working for a Premier League club was £360. And I remember the gulf between coaches and players. I'm only an academy coach, but I remember walking in on like when I'd settled in a little bit, walking past security, boots in my hand, and I said to the guy, how come those 2 Bentleys at the front have never moved? And they were John Carew's Bentleys, and they hadn't moved in 6 months because he didn't need to move, mate. I think he had loads of cars or something. So, you know, how the other half were living. One was walking to work, and the others were just cruising in style. Rightly so, because they're first team players. But how was Stoke to coach? I remember Stoke gave me real structure to my sessions. I remember the academy director at the time was a guy who was a great talker, great organiser, and I actually admired him as a man, do you know what I mean? But he gave me setup to my work, technical, tactical, SSGs, you know. I started learning all the lingo, and I started to learn on the job and learn on the job quite quickly. The other guy I worked with was unbelievable. He's now the under-18s coach there, Richie Walker. The best talker I've ever heard in my life. Okay, he could hold court on the bus, the changing room with the players. He did everything, by the way. I was his assistant. We weren't meant to be out those roles, but he took it upon himself, being an ex-pro and whatever. He took it upon himself. So I did all the technical work with the group, and he did all the tactical work, and it worked great because his tactical detail was superb, and I was stronger at the technical. So between us, we were quite a good blend. The facilities we coached on at a Cat 1 club were amazing. Some of the people that you got to bump into on journeys was amazing. One of my favourite things about being an academy coach was the away days. So we used to get on the bus with the players to go to the other venues. I remember like going to Liverpool's training ground, West Brom's training ground, Villa's training ground, and it was all incredible. I really enjoyed that season that I did. But when it came to the EPPP kicking in and everyone getting full-time jobs, phase jobs, full-time teaching jobs and stuff, I pretty soon realised that it wasn't a level playing field in terms of who gets jobs and whatever, in terms of the ex-pros got. Now, I'm not a believer in that, but I don't disagree with it, and I'll tell you why I don't disagree. I remember once standing next to Earl Barrett, who played for England. Okay, he played for England, Aston Villa, Everton, and he explained to me the role of a fullback. Right, the guy played fullback for England, man. You know what I'm saying? But I just remember thinking, oh my God, his detail was just like, I'm telling you, it was just incredible. I hung off his every word. I enjoyed being around him actually, but I just remember that one thing when he pulled the right back out of a session when the 13s were playing the 14s in a practice game, and he's just giving it to the right back straight, when, where, how, boom, and just you can't get that unless you've played the game. Okay, what you can get if you can't played the game is maybe personality, charisma, technical drills. You know what I mean? But that actual game understanding, man, comes from playing it, man. So the blend between maybe not playing and playing, I like, as opposed to all playing or all non-playing. You never get all non-playing, okay? I enjoyed my time there. It gave me opportunity It gave me something on my CV. I remember business cards that had I put Premier League Academy coach, and that got me work. You get opportunities off the back of it because you're wearing a badge. In this country, people respect a badge, they like a badge, and it actually gets you places. I'm very glad I did that journey. I'm very glad I got out of that journey, okay? But I'm very glad I did that journey. It was a massive learning curve, you know, being around a big enterprise like Stoke City, which it was. Very grateful to the academy manager, giving me the job. And yeah, the experience for me was 50-50. So there was parts of it I absolutely loved, but there was parts of it which I didn't resent, but there was parts of it where I thought, like, we got paid £40 on a Sunday, but sometimes it'd take us 6 hours on a bus. So we went to Cheltenham once, and we left at 9, we got back at 3:30, 6.5 hours for £40, working at a category 1 club. I remember thinking, probably not great use of my time, but at the time, the money didn't matter to me. What did matter to me was building my CV. It's an incredible couple of blocks in that CV, because now I've probably filled most gaps. I've done first team men's, I've done first team non-league, I've done under 18s, I've done under 16s, all the way to under 9s, to grassroots, to primary school coaching, to one-on-ones. I think I've ticked every box in terms of like the development, how you get to the top. It's taken me 18 years to tick all the boxes. It's taken me 18 years to deliver in all forms. And I wouldn't necessarily say, you know, coaching at Stoke City was any more enjoyable than going to America and working for Challenger. It was probably more eye-opening, and I saw more sort of high-profile people, and it was interesting to follow the routes of the players that actually went on to do the furthest that you couldn't have told at 13. So unless there's a superstar in that group, early promise is no sign of longevity, because remember that we sort of had in our head who was at the top of the group, who was at the bottom of the group, and then by the time they're under 18s, under 23s, it's totally turned around. You know what I mean? Some people develop, some people get power speed, but I'm very grateful to still be in touch with some of the players, Josh Bowden, Matt Waters, Theo Briley. You know, actually Theo phoned me for advice, so that's nice, isn't it? 10 years later, the boys from Stoke City are still phoning me. So great memories. Glad I put it on my CV, and I hope that gives you an insight into academy football. Dave1on1. Boom.